But it's called the uncorrelated parlay. And this isn't like a huge secret. Me and John have been betting this for like 2 years now. And it's been all over social media. And it doesn't just apply to receptions and receiving yards, which is what I'm going to highlight. It can really go with anything. But essentially what it is the pricing calculator for same game parlays for correlated parlays. And correlated parlays mean that this event is likely to happen with this event. So an example would be week 1, Dak Prescott over 250 passing yards parlayed with CD Lamb over 80 receiving yards, right? If Dak goes over his yardage, it's a high possibility that CD is going to be getting a high amount of production. So that would be correlated. Well, the sportsbooks pricing algorithm, pricing model that they have detects this because obviously if it will give you fair value on that, everyone in the world would be smashing those and cashing out definitely because it's a higher probability it's going to happen. It's going to hit because those two things are correlated. So for instance, minus 112, minus 116 is what the price is on that. Right now, if you did that on two separate events, two separate games that have no correlation, are totally separate standalone, that would pay plus 256. Okay. If you put $100 on Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb in the parlay I just said, it pays 152. So you basically nerf this parlay by 90 cents. Or I'm sorry, it was whatever the math
110
is,
cents.
110 cents. Because it was off on my notes here. But yeah, so it nerfs it down, and rightly so. So what do? You should use this to your advantage. What you should do is find a receiver, and here's a plug to the website. We have ADOT on the website, so you can find a guy whose average depth of target, which is ADOT, is high, and his target share is low, and you can parlay his receptions under, receiving yards over. So an example that on a player that we used to smash until the cat got out the bag was Jameson Williams. Stereotypical. Number 1, too, he was on a great team that had very, very low game flow where he was going to be getting a lot of late game targets. It just did not happen. He was on a team that was primarily up in the fourth quarter. And he was not a top production guy. They had Gibbs, they had Montgomery, they had St. Brown. So if they scored a lot of points, it wasn't necessarily going to be the case that Jameson Williams was getting a lot of this production. He also had a massive high ADOT, so he was a down-the-field receiver. I say all this because if you parlayed his under 3.5 receptions with 70-plus yards in I believe this was week 3, it paid 30-1, right? High payout because the sportsbooks algorithm says this is not this. This is a stupid bet. Let's price this up higher. If he gets catches, or if he doesn't get a lot of catches, he's not going to get a lot of yards. It dropped down a lot during the season, but this is just an example of one player. I mean, I think we hit Jameson Williams 3 times last year, and the ROI is there. So it's like look for players who are not the primary guys, who have a catch. I think the sweet spot in this too that I found out since modeling it is 3.5. Like you can do 4.5, but 3.5 is the sweet spot just because it gets to the point where you need one big catch, and the likelihood of that happening is sportsbooks thinks are not, or the market thinks is not very high. So you can really exploit it with that number.